SmartB Sports Update podcast is brought to you by Optimum CBD. For all your rest and recovery needs, CBD products are your best bet. Go to optimumcbd.store to order now. Free delivery on all orders over $99. You must be over 18 to order. I use Optimum CBD products personally for my rest and recovery. I train 6 days a week in Jiu-Jitsu, as you've probably heard on the SmartB Sports Update podcast. I teach, I train, I compete. And without Optimum CBD products, I wouldn't be able to do it. Optimum CBD for all your rest and recovery needs.
Finals have been a great, example of rugby league, I guess you can say. Even that game, the Sharks game that had the 48 penalties with Ashley Klein was still a pretty good game, yeah. And now we've got the Broncos versus the Storm. What are you thinking about it?
Yeah, it's crazy. Obviously, firstly, I was a bit disappointed. Penrith couldn't get through just as a mutual... I don't have any association with any of the teams left, just a fan. But there was a sense of disappointment last week. I thought Penrith had that game. There was that set late in the game. There was a few sets late in the game where Nath just struggled to sort of force that restart. I think their fullback jumped on a loose ball, and then it was just all Broncos miracle in the end, which was it was amazing to watch, sort of under all the pressure they were under. And I suppose they come into the finals, Broncos off 2 games that they've come from behind in finals, which I think is mentally a huge thing, especially against Melbourne, because they're probably going to find themselves at times behind. Yeah. I would have said Broncos 2 months ago wouldn't have been able to handle that. So I think where Broncos are at the moment. The thing with grand finals, I think too, usually your best player needs to be in a purple patch to win, or one of your marquee players, and that's what they got with Walshy. And you think about over history, all those, their best players find their best form with that big momentum going into the grand final. It usually pays off. So that's the thing that goes in their favour. But for Melbourne, for me, the spine's just too good. You just saw how clinical they were last week, how composed they are, just their temperament. They didn't look flustered. I spoke on our podcast the other day about Jerome Hughes and just how calm he is. Like, I watched him at halftime. He's come off, missed 4 to 5 weeks of footy with a broken arm. You'd have to have a bit of self-doubt. And he just came out of the blocks, dominated, ran the ball. And then at halftime, he was just like a SAS soldier the way he was talking. Just no anxiety. He was just so calm. So that makes me lean towards Melbourne, to be honest. And he's not on his own. He's obviously got Munster there, Harry Grant. But I think that if you look at the 2 teams, I think, to be honest, Broncos got a better pack, more athletic, younger pack. I think their outside backs, man for man, are probably pretty similar. It's a good matchup out there. But the spine, for me, as good as Broncos have got, obviously, with Walshy and Renault's a season vet, I just think Melbourne have got an edge there.
I just got a quick question for you, Mitch. You mentioned there that the Broncos have won with a couple of comebacks in the last couple of games. They were down 28-12 with 15 to go against the Raiders, came back and won 29-28 in Golden Point, and then 14-0 down against the Panthers at halftime, came back and won 16-14. Do you think they would have been better off maybe starting with Ezra Mam and jumping out of the gates quickly against Melbourne? Is it a bit risky? Obviously, that they wouldn't want to give up a lead against Melbourne in the grand final.
Yeah, I like Ben Hunt at hooker. I think if you look at Ben Hunt's best footy, we've got a Dragons man on the screen, and I love Benny Hunt. Yeah. 350 plus games, done countless origins and Australian tests, won at all levels. He's a great player. But I think his best position is at 9. He can definitely play halfback. He's been a good halfback, very good halfback. But I think he's a 9, and I think the dynamics for them is better when he's at 9. You saw last week. I think early, even there was changes. Like, obviously, I thought Billy Walters did a great job for the time when he was at 6, and I think the reason for that was because he just played steady, and then he wouldn't have been an over talker. He just did his job. And then it allowed Walsh the freedom, and they had the penetration out of 9. Where I just think when Benny Hunt goes to 6 last week, I thought that first half, they're lucky they won. Like, they deserved the win, but they were clunky that first half. I know Penrith didn't give them much room, but their attack wasn't great, and it needs to be better than that. against Melbourne for 80 minutes, and I think Ezra gives them that X factor, a little free reset to run where he wants, and then Adam Reynolds can just take control and play more out of 9 with Benny Hunt.
Yeah, and the stats sort of really have this in favour of the Storm as well. The Storm have won 17 of their last 19 games against the Broncos. And Craig Bellamy has won 14 of 16 games against Michael Maguire coach teams as well.
That 14 or 16 game, how many of the Tigers games does that include? Though?
Yeah, well, it does include that. It does include that.
When you put Tigers in the stats, it's like every coach has won 14 to 16 games against the Tigers coach, right?
I'll tell you what, you can guarantee it wouldn't be in their video session on the billboard, those stats. Hey boys, we got a grand final this week, but we've fucking won about 2% of our games against these guys.
Yeah. But when was the last time they won? They did win in 2006. Was it 2006 they beat?
Yeah, Melbourne? That was the Broncos' last premiership.
Yeah.
They did have Darren Lockyer.
And was Carmichael Hunt there as well? And that was one
Petro
of those
Sim receiver. I think Webke played that. I think Webke.
Yeah.
Tony Carroll as well. Yeah, it was one of those teams.
Hodges.
And overall as well. Overall, the Storm's record against the Broncos, they played 59 times. The Storm have won 43. The Broncos 15 with one draw as well. So, just overwhelmingly, the Storm have a really good record against the Broncos historically. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that's in favour for Broncos is, as we said, their best players are playing their best footy and they're coming up with individual moments. Like Katoni Staggs, you can throw in there. Payne Haas, best front rower in the world.
He's ridiculous, yeah.
Mate, you can't even comprehend how good it was last week. 80 minutes in the middle in a game like that. Like you watched a lot more footy than me, earlier than me, the 70s and 80s and all that sort of stuff. You that old, John? I think yeah.
Oh, well, God, that's a bit mean. I was born in 1980. How
old
do I look?
The 80s.
Yeah, the 80s. No, nothing. There's nothing that compares. Actually, the only performance I can remember in my lifetime is that time that Paul Gallen played 80 minutes of prop for Origin. That's it. I can't believe Payne Haas played the whole game in the middle last week, and it was such a hard game. But how do you reckon that's going to affect him? Wouldn't he be tired? And even during the game, I was thinking why isn't? I know he's going well, but why isn't Maguire pulling him off for a rest?
Yeah, there's definitely that fatigue would have to play its part. I'm confused with us. We were speaking about the other day as well when you spoke about fatigue. I'm confused at the 2-day gap from the two finals games, Friday to Sunday. I don't understand.
It's bizarre, isn't it? It's all about getting getting bigger TV ratings. That they worked out that the TV ratings were going to be bigger if they put the two games on days that weren't clashing with the AFL Grand Final. And I
understand that. I understand that. I just don't understand who gets what. Why did Melbourne get the Friday and then Broncos Sunday? Because it does play its part.
I think because they were the higher ranked team at the end of the season.
Yeah, right.
They finished second. The Broncos were fourth. So.
That's still once you get through to the semis, that's not fair. Honestly, they had the whole thing about Raiders in the first round, and when Ricky Stewart was saying as the minor premiers, we should actually get more around our draw for the first round of the finals actually. And at the time I was pretty critical of it, but the more I think about it, the more I've talked to people online and stuff like that, especially seeing people's opinions. Actually, as a minor premier, what do you get? You actually get your team gets some money, which is irrelevant to the players who have put all the work in, and really first and second get the same reward in reality. As a team, you both get a home semi-final and you both get a second chance. So I'm leaning in the direction now. Ricky Stewart was kind of right. Actually, the minor premiers should get something extra for coming first and picking your day, even though it did fail miserably for Canberra. Picking your day is really good, would be a good reward. And they should look at that in the future, I reckon, from next year. Whoever gets minor premier should get to pick their day, and then they do the schedule around it. but 3 weeks in semi-finals, it's just not fair. It's really just not fair.
No, I agree. This is what is it, Champions League in soccer or whatever. They get first to the post is the prize. I won 3 minor premiers as part of the Roosters, and it's not like anything you really talk about, or it's not, it's not really that prestigious, is it? And I agree with you. It is a huge thing. So there should be some benefit. And like you said, whether it's even going straight to the major semi, like you missed the first 2 and I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, in cricket they have some stuff like that where the premier, like the team that finishes first actually skips the first round completely of the finals. They have weird stuff like that, and like I just think like I said, I at the time I was a bit critical of Ricky Stewart because he does complain a lot, but now I'm kind of leaning in the direction of like, the minor premier should get some. But 3 weeks in, man, like we're in the semi-finals. Melbourne, or 2 weeks in, they're 3 weeks in. Melbourne getting 2 extra days to rest over the Broncos is I think it'll play a big part in the game. Like as the game wears on, especially, and we, guys like Payne Haas who played 80 minutes on Sunday, come out 60 minutes, 70 minutes if the game's close. That 2 extra days of rest for Melbourne's going to play a big part.
Yeah, I think it will for sure. Especially like you said, a lot of the way the game was. I think Melbourne will be licking their lips with that. And they come in on Monday fresh, ready to attack the next game, where the Broncos aren't probably starting their week till Wednesday. And then you see the boys going to the Dally M's last night. I know it's all part of it, but, you'd only have to ask the sports science guys that are so pedantic about all this shit all year. And then all of a sudden now they're probably going to have to say, it doesn't matter, boys. It's all good. It's just part of it. We'll just deal with it. Or if it's in the regular season, they're blaming injuries on that stuff. So it is a big thing. But at the same time, I don't think that'll play its part at the start, especially for the first 60 minutes, and it's a grand final, the adrenaline. But we'll see in the last 20 whether it plays its part.
Just on the prelim finals, they could have played both of them on Friday night or both of them on Sunday. That was another option.
Yeah, right.
That would have been better.
Yeah, I think that would have been better than having them 2 days apart. But anyway.
Put you on the spot, Mitch. Who's your tip? Who you got winning?
No, I'm going for Melbourne.
I'm tipping the Broncos. That's my team.
I'll do Dragons.
No, I mean, I had no team in the finals. I am a Dragons fan, but bro, I just want Ben Hunt to win, to be honest. Like Adam Reynolds had his redemption last week. He got to kick that conversion, and it was against the Panthers and everything. But Ben Hunt's still seeking that redemption from 2015. And I just think it'd be awesome for Ben Hunt to win one. As much as I criticize him while he was at the Dragons, because I'm a Dragons fan and I criticize all my players no matter what. I really want him to win one. So I'm going Broncos, and they're my team for the grand final now.
Well, I think the momentum, as you said, there's heaps of good storylines for Broncos. I think when you lose one as well, without being corny, your next one's a different feeling. I've experienced that. Lost one in 2010. I was a bit like the Broncos in 2010. I was like 21. All the boys most of our group were all 21, 22. We had a few older senior boys, but majority of the group that won in 13 were all younger. And to be honest, I had just this excitement. I wasn't as zoned in hindsight. Obviously, at that time, you're as zoned in as you think you are. Like you're as present as you are at that age, and how you're approaching it at that age. But in hindsight, 13, I was way more zoned in because had that fear of failure like 50 times more. Going on the bus was like, fuck. I remember having that feeling like if we lose, I'm probably kill myself. Like it sounds a bit deep, but it was that kind of, you put that much in pressure on yourself. Like if I die here, I'm happy. I just want to win the fucking thing. And everyone, you could feel it. I remember the 13, the feeling before the game was the most intense I've ever felt. Like even in Origins, and like myself, I was just so nervous, but just felt so tapped in. Like couldn't feel your body kind of feeling. It was a fucking pretty good feeling. I tell everyone that because I remember it. And looking around the sheds, we had huge personalities, Sonny and Jared Hargraves, but I could tell all the boys were just that nervous but focused energy. Like they had to hit us with everything they could to beat us. I didn't feel that as much in 2010. I did, but we had this excitement and it was all new. Don't get me wrong, it's not an excuse. We gave everything we could, but I just think Broncos. I just think from watching the way Broncos attacked the finals, I reckon they got a bit of that the way we were. It was new for them the last time, and this time it's like fuck, we can't lose again. So
and it's interesting you just mentioned there, Mitch, that how you lost one in 2010 and then came back and won one in 2013. Well, but both of these teams are sort of in that boat as well. I mean, Melbourne lost in 2024 and Brisbane lost in 2023, and now they're going up against each other and they're fighting it out for the title. So whoever wins will have done the same thing as you, coming back and winning one soon after losing one.
Well, that's the thing as well. Melbourne are coming in with the same mentality. I suppose you've got a different argument for them. A lot of their players have been there and done that a bit more than the Broncos. I think what they played. Jerome Hughes is probably in his third grand final, is he? Munster in his third or fourth. Munster in his third or fourth. So what they got on their favour, and I think that's why I think Melbourne are going to win, is they've got more temperament. Like Munster just gets another leg in these big games. Jerome Hughes is unfazed. I'm not saying Renault and these guys are, but I just think I can just see Melbourne attacking it with a fair bit more composure.
If you look through the squads, I think Melbourne obviously have a way more bunch of players that have won premierships and lost premierships in a grand final than Brisbane does.
I got a stat here. The Storm have 15 players who played a total of 21 grand finals. The Broncos have 12 players who've played a total of 14 grand finals.
Fuck.
That is a big actual.
So that's 7 more grand finals for the Storm.
Yeah. And that plays its part. Like, just dealing with the week and the occasion and everything like that. And it's not only just that they've played, like the guys that are all in the key positions are like the best in their field. So, yeah. I think if Broncos are to win and win momentum in the game, what they got in their favour is Payne Haas, Carrigan, Katoni Staggs, these guys. Like, for me, they are man for man probably nearly more powerful than a lot of the opposition for them in Melbourne. As good as the Melbourne players are, your Katoas and Horwood, Coates in the backfield, all these guys, I just think Broncos, with space around midfield, no one's better. And if they can capitalise and get a few penalties, Walsh in that off the back of that, you can see him. You can see him blowing some points off the park. But if it's a tight game and it's a tight arm wrestle, I just think Melbourne have a bit too much poise.
Did you see, Mitch? Did you see Stefano Utoikamanu comments in the media?
What's he doing?
Okay, you saw it? Yeah.
You know what's funny? I saw Matty Johns, who's the best. He puts everything so well. And he goes, I reckon Bellamy's gone through the group and gone, I'm going to pick the quietest Islander that sits in the corner with his hat on, doesn't say a word. We'll put him up so there's no controversy. And and he's come out. And he's come out and said something out of the box. It's bizarre, isn't it?
It was unbelievable.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for the game, isn't it? It's interesting. It's better than just the cliche responses. It's entertaining.
Yeah. Who was he talking about?
Yeah. So he said, look, I don't want to name names, but he said, yeah, there are a lot of people I think are a bit stuck up. He said there's a lot of people I don't like on this team, talking about Brisbane, obviously.
For sure he's talking about Reece Walsh. They all talk about Reece Walsh.
Yeah, you'd have to think it'd be Reece Walsh, wouldn't you?
Mate. But wouldn't you love to be Reece Walsh right now? Like, I saw him put something up straight after the game. Imagine the amount of stuff he's getting on his social media and that. And he put up the brand new iPhones just come out, and he put up, hey, I'm looking for one of those iPhone 17s if anyone's got one. He goes, I can't find them anywhere. It was literally an hour straight after kickoff when he's just won. I already would have got 4 sent to his fucking mailbox straight away.
Sure.
So.
Did you see Corey Parker gave it to Utoikamanu as well? He said he's done absolutely nothing. He has not won a competition. He said he's played 3 Origins and won none, 2 Samoan tests and won none, and yet he's having a crack at the Broncos. So Corey Parker's had Corey Parker's given him a spray in response to that.
Yeah. It's just, it's a bit strange, isn't it? Like, it's, I don't think it's a bit un-Melbourne-like without trying to be a politician. It is a bit un-Melbourne-like, isn't it? You never really hear it. You never hear any Melbourne players, especially going into big games, ever come out and say anything like that, which is a bit weird.
If you had done that before one of your grand finals, would your coach have pulled you in line, or do you think Bellamy will have had a word to him after that?
Yeah, I don't know whether would he have a word and rock the boat before the game. I'm not sure. You'd think going off the way you hear things about Bellamy, you'd think he would say something. But
yeah,
I'm sure if they lose,
there's not much you can do though. It's done now, right?
Yeah. If they lose after the game, he might have words.
I wouldn't be going to Mad Monday if they lose. If I was in, be fucking
especially if guys like Reece Walsh and Ezra Mam, the guys at the Broncos, who everyone says are the flashy dudes, have good games and carve up Melbourne.
Yeah,
do you want to be Stefano at Mad Monday?
It's saying that he's been playing good. He was nearly their best player last week. So
yeah, well,
he did play well.
He's pretty consistent in his like ability, right? He's always really good, and that's why he gets picked for all the rep teams. Yeah, like Corey Parker's going to defend the Broncos. That guy's a Bronco. And Stefano obviously has had those things where he's like, played 2 Origins and not won them and stuff like that. But he's one of the best forwards on the park week in, week out at Clubland. So as much as you want to criticize his rep career, he's only one player in a team that lost Origin.
Yeah,
it's not his fault that they lost. He didn't play well in Origin though.
One thing I would just say is I just don't understand Corey Parker's argument. Like, he's saying, he hasn't won any Origins or tests, and it's like, well, all he said was that he just didn't like some players. So does that mean that just because you haven't won Origins or tests, that means you're not allowed to say that you don't like a few players? I just don't understand that argument.
Well, Corey Parker does radio in Queensland, and he's an ex-Bronco, like John said. So I don't think he's got any option but to back his teammates up.
Yeah.
I don't think Rodney Howe or anything from Melbourne's probably going to back the Broncos up. He'd probably be backing up Stefano. So I think he's just he's just backing up his district there. But it's a bit weird. It was funny, if anything. I had a good laugh over it because it's fucking so left field and unexpected. So, but who knows? He might come out and deliver, and everyone will say it's the greatest comments ever because he got his team over the line and won him a comp. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and Bellamy might take that angle. He might say, "Well, you got to use it as motivation now."
Yeah,
but that's you don't want to piss Reece. If he was like, I know it's like you don't know who he was talking about, but it's so obvious he was talking about Reece Walsh. And, you could see in that Canberra game, like, they made Reece Walsh angry by giving him a sin bin. Then he come out of the sin bin and carved Canberra up, like, so hard. I think Reece Walsh is kind of an emotions player. So if you give him something to drive him, give him something like, see what Stefano said about you? He'll come out and he'll just go gangbusters. It's a bad idea to talk bad about him or make him angry in the games.
I totally agree with that. He's an emotional player. It doesn't look like he gets flustered by that stuff either. He likes the attention and thrives on it, which is a gift, really. But I think he's going to be the difference on the weekend for sure.
Yeah, hopefully he's hoping. Seriously, I just really want Ben Hunt to win a premiership, man. Like, it'd be so nice to see that redemption.
Yeah.
After 20.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about the 15 one till you just brought it up. Yeah, that was that sort of haunted him for a while, didn't it? That one.
Yeah, I saw like yesterday the Throwback Thursday. Today's Thursday, right? Yeah. Today's Throwback Thursday on the NRL Reddit was Ben Hunt dropping the ball,
Fuck off.
Like, he's never going to. But the only way to get rid of that is to win a premiership, right? Like that's the thing. Like, if he wins one, then it'll be like, oh, remember that time Ben Hunt dropped the ball in 2015? But remember that time he won a premiership in 2025? Like, So I think that'll probably be a big motivation for him. And like you said before, when he goes to hooker, it's going to be a big difference for the Broncos. Starting Mam on the bench it's obviously worked for the past 2 weeks or 2 games, getting Mam to come off the bench, but we'll see what happens on Sunday. Sunday, right? Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah. I suppose they had to kind of was a big decision, wasn't it? Like you take it back 1 week when Billy Walters went down, and then Adam Reynolds was coming back with Ezra. It was a big decision. Like we kind of, because of the win on the weekend, you kind of sort of brush over it. But their form with the other spine was outstanding. They won 5 or 6 in a row.
Yeah.
With the other boys. Ezra wasn't a part of that. Adam Reynolds wasn't a part of that. Ben Hunt was the key figure in that. So I suppose like you can understand that they were going to, bring Ezra back in slowly. But yeah, I agree with you. This week, I think it's time to just throw them all in and Benny Hunt to 9. But to be honest, they looked a bit clunky at the start last week. I said it earlier, but I think they didn't have much possession. Penrith just ambushed them. It's difficult when you're on the back end of any possession and coming out of your own end as a half. You can't really get any footy on. There's no front foot, quick play the balls, but they did look clunky. So, and I don't think in the second half it was any beautiful set plays that got them back in by any means. So that for me, that's still a bit of a grey area how that's going to hold up against Melbourne. You know that Melbourne are going to be super clinical. Their spine just plays so many different layers. So I don't think Broncos need to play that to win. They're not going to discover this mad set plays and ruck recognition like Melbourne do in 1 week. They don't need to play like that. They've got the power game on their side, and that I think Broncos' best plays are midfield as well, like moving the ball in the midfield. They've had a lot of joy with Katoni Staggs on that right, with Walshy coming around with open space. And traditionally against Melbourne, you can find some space around midfield. They did it last week with Nico. He went down the short side, hit Jesse Raymond, I think it was. They scored from midfield. Melbourne traditionally, even when I was at Roosters, we used to try and attack a lot around the middle of the field because they defended a little bit tighter, and that their system's never changed. So I think I see if points are going to come for Broncos, I see it around that midfield area with Walshy on the long shifts and getting the ball out to Katoni Staggs, even coming off a bit of second phase off Payne Haas and Carrigan, which they're very good at as well.
Do you sort of think that by playing Mam off the bench, are they sort of taking the safe option a little bit by doing that? And you sort of feel like, well, they can't afford to take the safe option going into this game, the Broncos, like they should be thinking about taking the risk of starting Mam, even though he's only just come back from that hamstring injury.
Yeah, maybe the mentality from Madge, thinking about it now, as you just said it, is the fact he just wants a solid defender there early. Not saying Ezra's a bad defender, but he probably maybe, if I was putting myself in Madge's shoes, I'd be thinking that, okay, I want to win the first 20 minutes physically. So maybe that he thinks that Ben Hunt there is a better option. And then once the game creates a bit of fatigue, Benny goes to 9, blows the ruck. The same time that Harry Grant's going to start to try and run. So it's a bit of a like for like. And then you put Ezra there, who's what I just spoke about, can play those midfield shapes better than anyone, taking on big fours and that type of stuff. That's 100% what Madge is obviously thinking, because otherwise, as you said, he'd pull the trigger and put him there from the start. So he obviously thinks it works. And you can't blame him, because at the end of the day, last week, it worked for him at the back end of the game.
Yeah,
Benny Gunn and not.
They beat the Panthers, who were probably the form team in the competition, right, at that stage.
Yeah.
So,
and when Benny did go to 9, he did create more space out of there. So it's probably the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving along, Panthers finally over 1,400 and whatever it was days as the premiers.
Wow.
Like in the modern game, absolutely ridiculous. Where do you think the Panthers go from here? Like, I know, did you see the press conference where someone asked Ivan Cleary, like, how do you feel it being over? And he said, "What's over?" Do you think it's over for the Panthers?
Nah, no way. I think they'll be thereabouts again. I think next year. I don't think if anything, they'll be more motivated. I just think with their group, if it was going to be, if ego and, complacency was going to be a problem, it would have been a problem by now. Because that's the only way I see them dropping, is if that fire, goes away, that the desire to win. And that's not going to happen with Nathan and Ivan and the senior group they got there. So Like talent-wise, they're going to be just as good. Who have they got coming? Are they recruited?
Not that much actually.
I'll look it up. I'll have a look.
While he's looking it up, what do you think about like they were obviously the team that went to one of the teams that went to Vegas this year. Yeah, this year. And they've had NRL in Vegas the past 2 years, and both years all the teams have had kind of hangovers, but Penrith's one kind of lasted the longest. So do you think that played a lot of factor into how they were at the beginning of the year? Because if you remember at the beginning of the year, they were like spoons. They were last for an extended period. And maybe they just didn't handle it that well.
There's actually no new players coming next year.
Yeah. Well, their roster's still pretty good. I suppose they got younger boys they blooded this year that'll keep getting better. But to answer your question, John, I think I don't know if it was from Vegas. I think it was just to do with the whole transition of players. They lost a lot of players. They blooded a fair few. Obviously, with Blaze Talangi came in. He took a while to get going. They had you think about this year, they had Jenkins debut, McLean, who was unbelievable. It was the other middle, Smith, one of the young. I know he played a little bit of part in the last couple of years, but they had a lot of guys that weren't as sort of big names, that were a bit more, as you could probably call, plotters in the middle a bit, but they got the job done. They sort of took a while to develop, so that they lost a fair bit of leg speed to what they had before, with obviously Fisher, and then who else did they lose? They lost another middle, but yeah, I think that took them a while, just getting those guys up to speed a little bit. And then obviously they found their groove. So I think they'll be better off again next year, because those guys won't take as long to get going. And I think the fire will be burning there. Like, they'll be hurting that they weren't able to get it done. I just think, for me, like, whenever you got Nathan there, who's just and Yowie as your leaders, they just have the most unbelievable temperament. They don't fucking get flustered. And as I said, they haven't been flustered for 6 years. So why would they be flustered now? They've got a great dynamics.
They had that last play in last week's game where they actually got flustered. that was a shocker, like a total miscommunication. Like Nathan Cleary standing all the way back, and then it was not they really stuffed that up. Their last play of the game.
Well, to be honest with you, I think the other thing that when I said not flustered, everyone's going to have some sort of moments. I'm talking about over a 6-year period, but I thought where the game could have been won for them and where it was lost last week was that those 3 sets that they had. Nathan went for a couple of grubbers, and then he went for a grubber at the post, where usually he'd put a sort of chip kick at the post, and they ended up. Yeah, I remember back. I think it was about 10 minutes to go last week, which kept the Broncos in the game. Otherwise, if they score there, it's game over. And I thought they were going to, with the amount of possession they had. So I don't know if you put that down to good Broncos D, or Penrith just getting a bit. I don't know what it was, but I was watching going, it's going to be game over here, and they weren't able to close it out, which was un-Penrith like a bit.
And you saw Ezra Mann roughing up Cleary as well. That looked like a bit of a premeditation there. Ezra Mann sort of gunning him a bit with that tackle as he was kicking, and then he sort of went and let him know about it after that as well.
How did he not get sin bin?
Yeah, how did Liam Martin not get sin binned? I think is the bigger one. Like, they want to say
he missed grand final. He'll miss grand final if he got binned. Does he miss the grand final?
Yeah, that's running in like that. Because
they want to say
that Cleary threw a punch, but these aren't punches that they throw that they deem as punches anymore. I was fine with Cleary not getting sin binned actually, but Liam Martin coming in and hooking Ezra Mann from behind, that should have been a sin bin. And surely, if they made the grand final, would they have charged him? I don't
think they would have. I reckon they would have just found a reason not to charge him and let him off.
It's one of the weird things about the NRL, right? Like, you just can't judge, you can't trust that they do the right thing consistently. You think, would they have actually charged him? Maybe.
Maybe they'd charge him, but it'd just be a fine and let him play the grand final.
Yeah. Well, Walsh's one was, I know he didn't fully butt him, but if that's a regular season, he gets a couple of weeks, you reckon?
Yeah.
Well, I saw a thing that said the last 5 headbutts in the NRL haven't been a suspension. I saw one statistic the other day.
Yeah, right.
And all 5 have been headbutts, because we were talking about on the podcast, like when it happened, like it should have been a suspension, and then someone like commented on the clip, like, yeah, they're the last 5, and they listed them like these are the last 5 headbutts in the NRL. None have been a suspension. So there's even a weird thing like that, right? Like they have the rule where if you throw a punch, you get a sin bin and a suspension. You throw a headbutt, and it's like nothing. But headbutts are pretty bad. Headbutts are banned in like even MMA. Like surely a headbutt is worse than a punch if headbutts are banned in MMA and punches.
100%. Yeah, I thought a headbutt would be 10 weeks.
Yeah, like that's like apparently the NRL doesn't punish them. Headbutts are fine, but that's what one of my mates was saying. Like headbutts should be way worse. They don't even let you headbutt in MMA, and they let you do a lot of stuff in MMA.
Yeah.
So it's a bit weird, man. NRL.
Yeah, I haven't heard that rule. I haven't heard that the headbutts are.
Well, they don't suspend them, man. They get fines and stuff like that. But it's probably like it's not in the rules. They probably don't have an explicit rule. Like, as a referee for jiu-jitsu, I get like this from the rules creators. Like, if it's not explicitly in there, but something else is, then it's not against the rules. So like in in jiu-jitsu, they have a specific rule where you're not allowed to put your finger inside the opponent's mouth, nose, or butt. But it doesn't say ear, so you're allowed to put your finger in their ear. If it explicitly says something else and it doesn't explicitly say one other thing, then you do have to go. The rules probably say like you can't punch, but they don't say you're not allowed to headbutt. So you can just headbutt. It's fine.
It's a great turnaround. Great turnaround by the Panthers, though. They were last after 12 rounds. Come back and make a prelim. That's an outstanding achievement.
Yeah, they're just unbelievable. You can't say enough about them. Like we just spoke about, they started the year slow. I never had doubt that they were going to come good.
No, I kept tipping them, man. That was one of the things. Like I kept tipping them. How could you not? You just, at some point they're going to flip the switch and start winning. Well, they win 8 in a row or something like that, yeah?
Yeah, well, there was a long... Do you reckon it was maybe that just finishing outside the top 4, did that just catch up with them in the end, playing against the Broncos who'd come off the week off?
Well, as they keep saying, history was against them. I think 3 teams have won a grand final. You'd know more if you get the stat there. 3 grand finals outside of the top.
The last team to do it were the Bulldogs in '95. They won. They finished 6th and won the premiership from 6th. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So obviously we spoke about it before with the Friday to Sunday game and fatigue. Clearly, fatigue plays its part. If you don't finish in the top 4, you don't get the week off. Another team's just got fresher legs. It has to be that. I think it purely just comes down to fatigue and being fresher when it counts.
Just as an aside on that, do you think, it's not in our rundown or anything, but do you think maybe the finals are a bit like, the finals are meant to be like, we're in this final series, it's super exciting, anyone can win, but the fact that no one ever wins outside the top 4 kind of implies, what is it, 5 to 8 are just there making up the numbers. Do you think the final series could be restructured so it is a bit more exciting, so people outside the top 4 could win? If no one's won outside the top, whatever it is, 4 since, what did you say, Dan?
1995, the Bulldogs, yeah.
We can sit there every year and go, well, we have the top 8, but really only the top 4 can win. Would it be better if the NRL looked at making it so, 5 to 8 can also win?
How do you do that? Like, I like the idea.
No breaks. That's what it is.
Breaks.
I think it's no breaks. No reward. No second chance. It's just
no breaks as in everyone plays week to week.
Yeah. So first round, whoever gets knocked out, whoever loses gets knocked out. No second chances, no breaks. Whoever loses gets knocked out. Whoever wins
was interesting. There was actually there was a social media post that went up not too long ago, talking about the teams that had made the grand final from outside the top four, and one of them was Parramatta in 2009. And then Jared Hayne actually commented on it, saying, talking to whoever posted it, saying, "Get your facts right. We were cheated out of the win that year." And yeah, I guess he had a point, didn't he? So I guess you got a 2009. Parramatta made the grand final from outside the four, and they were beaten by a team that was way over the salary cap. So maybe that counts.
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, they still didn't win. I think what John's saying about the not having the week off kind of goes against repaying the minor premiers, though. So
they'd have to come up with some other way to give you, like, let them pick their day they want to play, something like that. I don't know. That's all just conjecture. But yeah, like, really, you just think about it. Like, every year we sit there and go, who's going to win the premiership? Well, it's not going to be the teams that were 5 to 8. It's going to be one of the top 4 that wins, right?
Yeah.
Every year. So
it makes it a bit predictable, I suppose. But I suppose the only benefit is that one of those top 4 sides can get knocked off the perch, might not win the comp, but that's the only sort of excitement. But yeah, it's a pretty crazy stat when you think about it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I just thought of it right now, because like Dan said, like 1995, that's a long time, man. Like I can't even add up how many, 30 years, yeah.
Well, the other stat is top two in defense.
Yeah, 30 years, yeah.
The other stat's top 2 in defense. So if you don't finish top 2 in defense, you don't win the comp. I think that's a stat over the last 20, 30. I think Tigers was the last one, 2005. Didn't finish in the top 2. Yeah. I'm not sure where Broncos finished. I'm not sure where Broncos finished, if it was top 2, but there's another stat for you. That might be
I think
this year.
I think Melbourne and
Panthers, they were 4th,
Melbourne and Dogs were the top 2 defense team, right?
Oh, so sorry, in defense. I'm going to check that now. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it was Melbourne and Dogs were the top 2 defensive team this year.
Yeah, I think the Dogs were the top defensive team.
They must have dropped back end of the year.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Dogs were the top defensive team, and Melbourne were number 2. Yep.
Yeah. Right. So you got to think that Melbourne's going to
Broncos. I'm just trying to work out where the Broncos were. The Broncos conceded 508 points, and there's a lot of teams that conceded less than that. So yeah, they weren't in the top 2 defensively.
Well, hopefully they can break that duck. Did you watch the Dally M's last night, Piercy?
Bits and pieces, yeah.
It's a hard watch, right? Like as a fan, actually, it's not that exciting. Yeah. What's it like being there?
It's good. It's always a good night. The ones I went was normally when the season was finished, so I was full of piss by the end of the night. The last one, I remember having a fucking big night back at the hotel with players from all teams, so that was a good night. But no, it is. It's a special night. Obviously, I thought my great mate Kieran Foran, congratulations for the Ken Stevens medal. I saw my dad actually presented it to him, so that was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah.
Which I've known Kieran all my life. But yeah, he spoke great. It's just inspiring how well he's talking and where he's at in his life. He's sort of found alignment, hasn't he? He's had a great career, but he's now in the mental health space and doing lots of stuff in the community. So he obviously wasn't searching for an award, but I was really happy for him. And the way he spoke, and especially being on the day of his stepson who's committed suicide, was pretty special. And then Teddy as well. Teddy was, what a player, man. Fuck. I saw something yesterday pop up on social media comparing him and Billy Slater. And on awards, I know it doesn't mean everything, but on awards, he's actually won more.
So I saw this as well. Like, one of the things that, obviously your team can also make, in a team sport, team makes the player as well. So Billy Slater was lucky to be in that Queensland team, right? Whereas James Tedesco obviously had to be stuck with that New South Wales team.
He come in at a good time, though. To be honest, he come in when he come in after the trauma.
Yeah, like Billy Slater gets a lot of plaudits because they say he won 9 Origins and he won World Cups and all that stuff. But James Tedesco, I think. He loses a lot of I don't want to say respect. Like, people kind of rate him a little bit lower because of that. because it is a team sport, like you can have the best player in the world. If they're not always on the best team, they're not going to be rated as highly. And Billy Slater was like not lucky enough, but obviously he earned his spot to be at Melbourne during that dominant salary cap era, at Queensland, in Australia, and obviously picked for Australia during that time. And then, Teddy's obviously been not surrounded by such dominant teams, so he doesn't get as highly rated. But to be honest, like I think those individual awards give him that leg up. I think he's like a full champion player. When he got dropped from New South Wales, I think it was fair, because although he was still playing really well, he wasn't playing as well as people like Dylan Edwards. But I think he's just proven once again that he is actually one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah, that's the second Dally M for him as well. He won it in 2019 as well, Tedesco.
Yeah, it's freaking. I think this year's probably one of his best years too. You speak about his legacy or whatever, but I think the way he played this year. I think the thing with Teddy that he's different to Slater. Slater was the best fullback I've ever seen. So I love Ted, but for me, Slater's the best. But Teddy's right up there. But I think the thing with Teddy is his game. Teddy can do it on his own, like in a different way to Billy. Billy was elusive and speed, had everything, didn't he? But playing off the back of his halves. Where Teddy, a lot of the stuff Teddy does as his games progress is he jumps into first receiver a hell of a lot for a fullback, especially around the midfield there. Playing those little overs plays and the ruck recognition where he gets out of play fours and stuff like that. Like he plays a lot. And he searches for the ball. I think, and I say it all the time, I think Teddy's the best I've seen it. And Billy was pretty unbelievable at this as well. But Teddy's the best I've seen it staying in the moment, regardless of the score or the energy around him. Like whether his team, you only have to look at the Tigers when he was there, when he was playing in a busted team, when there's constantly negative energy around the Tigers. He was never phased. And that's a great strength because emotionally it's difficult, especially when you're a senior player, to not get bogged down with poor form from other players or coaching staff, all that, where he's just always in the moment. And I think that's the greatest gift that he's got is regardless whether they're down by 30 or they're up by 30 or he's in a shit team or a good team, he just always plays the same. Yeah. And you can't say that about many sports people or players, as you know. Like you take the baggage of other results and performances and personal doubt, all that. He never looks flustered. So I think that's
definitely.
That's for me. That's the thing that stands out the most about Teddy. And playing with him, it was like that. He's never phased. Pretty cool cat. Always quite introverted. Does his own thing. He's always in the zone.
Yeah, like I said, I think he's one of the greatest fullbacks of all time. But he's just played in an era where fullbacks are we talked about it before with you. Like currently, every team basically has a superstar fullback. But Teddy's been around. How old is he now?
He'd be 30. You have to be 31.
I'll just
32. He might be 4 years younger than me. So
yeah, he's 32. Yeah,
32.
So he's finishing his career in an era where every team basically has a superstar fullback, right? And he come up through a period where every team had a superstar halves combination, and it started to get all these like superstar fullbacks. And he's just always been there, always been up the top. Even when he didn't win the Dally M's, like he was still in that Dally M leaderboards pretty high every year. So yeah, like he's been like super consistent. Like it comes down to what you're talking about. Like he just no matter what, always plays the same. Because I know I've seen those Dally M's where even in matches where the Roosters kind of get pumped, he still scores highly in those Dally M points and stuff like that. And that's what I like. I always rated him as like my favorite fullback for years, even when he was at the Tigers. And yeah, I just appreciate his entire career and what he's given to all the fans, especially.
He's made himself unavailable for that Kangaroo tour too, so he's not going to England.
I mean, Reece Walsh will get picked, yeah.
You reckon? Yeah.
Yeah, surely Reece Walsh should be in the. Who else is there? Yeah. Dylan Edwards.
Reece might start. Reece might start, you reckon?
The form that Walsh is in, you'd have to go with him, wouldn't you, at this stage?
Yeah, it's against England. It's not that hard, right?
What about this new comp? Is there talk that
Yeah.
Lomax is going to
Yeah,
Saudi?
yeah, there is, there
well,
is, yeah. So,
Wraith and
so,
has already said like that Lomax is actually signed.
Oh,
so
I heard 3 million.
Yeah.
he's got 3 years left on his Parramatta contract, but it looks like it looks like that there's certainly something there.
They because the Rugby 360 thing is the minimum wage is $1 million, yeah.
$1 million, and there's no tax.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
they're gonna they'll base them in Dubai or somewhere like that
yeah.
where apparently as long as they don't spend 6 months in Australia, if they spend less than 6 months in Australia and they declare their residency somewhere like Dubai or somewhere where it's a tax haven, well then they pay no tax.
Not bad.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't you take it, man? Like honestly.
Oh, especially guys like now where getting a club's not that hard for a top end player. Like 10 years ago or something, and there was more loyalty to one club, and if you left, there was this big pushback, and it was a bigger drama. Where nowadays, if Lomax is to go over there and play great, he probably has 15 options. South of France Rugby Union, Japan Rugby Union. Go and play for any of the 16 NRL clubs if they got the money. Like there's so many more options now. So it's not really a risk, is it? You go and cash in, and you're in your mid-late 20s, go cash in, set your family up, and then you're going to have an option to come back anyway. And it's not like he hasn't already. That for me, that's the risk for the NRL now as well. Like how they're going to keep players, because the temptation is it's not even like it's the risk is not there anymore. Like it's not that big a thing for a mid-20s guy who's played for Australian Origin and had a really good NRL career and got a great reputation. For him to go away for a couple of years and make $3 million to come back, it's not a big thing. It's not that big a thing. And it's a worry for the NRL.
Rugby isn't as hard on your body as well, so it's kind of like an extension of his career. Yeah, like he'll be able to retain his like high level. Obviously you'd know best. Like playing rugby league for years and years and years just wears your body down. But rugby, he'll touch the ball a lot less. He'll get tackled a lot less. That won't wear his body down. So he will be able to come back after a couple of years and still be in. Like you look at someone like Mark Gasnier, right? He ran away for a couple of years to French rugby, come back and won a grand final. He was in high demand when he said he was going to come back. And he was still just as good as when he left. So someone like Lomax, how old is he? Like 26?
He'd only be like 26. I think the way the world is now, it's like you said, John, I reckon it actually adds value to players when they get out of the box. Like everyone in the game now, because everything's so the same, the systems are the same, the juniors. I feel like when Marky Mark came over this year, every club sort of almost wants someone that's a bit different or like cultured. They I think someone going away and coming back is more value than someone just staying in the same system and being stale. I just think that's the way it's gone now. So it's a good position for players. Like it's a great position for players to make money.
Sure. They've got a list of 20 rugby league players that they're targeting. So.
So there's other superstars they're going for. Ryan Pappenhausen, Jai Gray, Nelson Asofa Solomona, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Clinton Schifofsky. He manages Lomax and Pappenhausen. Apparently he's got his hands all over this new comp. Apparently they're going through him to sign these players, and I bet he's in for a good payday when he does.
7% of $3 million.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
Beautiful.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck to him. Why not cash in at this stage?
Yeah, 100%. With him, Lomax would be. Jai Gray's a good one. He open style footy. If I was him, I'd be going tomorrow. If I'm getting that money, he won't be getting that in the NRL. So
yeah, apparently he's going to be getting $900,000, and like to be fair, he probably is not going to get that in the NRL, is he? So
no.
So he'd be mad.
He's behind Latrell at the Rabbitohs, right? Jai Gray.
Yeah. Latrell.
He'd definitely be better served to go off to R360. But one of the things I saw for R360 is they players are going to own their own IP as well. So there's a lot more out of competition earning you can get. Like the what they say is they won't control where the players get sponsored by and stuff like that. Every new competition always starts like that in the sporting world until like they have a player that's sponsored by Fleshlight or something like that. So for the first year they'll be like, yeah, fine, take your sponsorships wherever you want. But then it'll be like, no, we can't have Pornhub sponsoring players. But there's a heap more earning potential if you're allowed to if you completely own your own IP as an athlete. Like one of the big things in the UFC, how restrictive they are around out of organization sponsorships. NRL has that third party sponsorship, all that kind of stuff. So it's not just about the contracts that R360 is offering. It's about the money they can earn out of organization through sponsorships as well. It's well worth it.
It's a bit of a myth that the money's coming from Saudi Arabia as well. Apparently, it has the backing of various private investors from around Europe and the US. It's been likened to the Live Golf, but R360 won't enjoy the same weight of financial support from the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund. So it's mainly private investors in the Europe and the US funding this, not Saudi Arabia.
So are the other players all rugby union guys that they're going for besides NRL?
Yeah, they're chasing a bunch of rugby union guys. Apparently, I did hear, I read one news article about how there's a few players in the Super League that they're chasing as well. But it's mainly rugby union players from around the world. There's about 20 players. But it's I don't know if you already discussed it. It's like 8 men's teams and 4 women's teams that'll be playing in the first season. As well. They're chasing some women. I heard they're chasing some female rugby league players from the NRLW too.
Yeah, right.
Because the NRLW girls, a lot of them play multiple sports anyway.
Really? Why are they playing league? I didn't know that.
They have been in the past. I don't know about now because it was all about like the livable wage, right? Like they didn't earn enough money and they weren't making enough money to. So there was like the girl that I can't remember her name that played cricket, first class cricket, like for Australia and for Australia in the rugby league a few years ago. But now like they make more money because the NRLW is like pretty popular. It's pretty good if you've watched.
They're on about 200. Some of the best players are on about 200K.
Yeah. So they're started to get that thing where they don't have to play others. But so the NRL, like, I don't know if you pay much attention to like AFLW. The AFLW is terrible. It's like unwatchable. But the NRLW is really good. Like I've been to a few games this year where people are arriving early to watch the NRLW and like the kids are all like lining up afterwards, chasing down their favorite players and stuff like that. So I heard that the R360's also got some targets in the NRLW as well. I just read a news article about it. I didn't have like inside knowledge or anything, but they got a lot of money and they're chasing a lot of people from rugby union around the world and the big rugby league competitions. And there's only 2 big rugby league competitions.
Yeah, it's 8 men's teams and 4 women's teams. Yeah.
And they live in Dubai.
Well, they'll be based in Dubai.
They'll base themselves in tax havens and then make sure they don't spend 6 months in Australia and then they won't have to pay tax.
Yeah,
perfect.
There are some other countries that won't work, but they won't target those countries for players.
And when's the season?
So I've got that here as well. If you just bear with me for a second. The organisers plan to get the Rebel League up and running next October. So I think they want to start the first one next October, and then the one the year after. I think they're going to start it earlier. They're going to start it in April. Yeah.
And it goes for how long?
I think it's 3 months, right?
3 months for 3 million. Fucking what?
Or is it?
Inaugural season to begin October 2026. Season 2 in 2027 to run from April to September. Season 3 in 2028 to run from April to September. So it looks like
the first year will only have 8 players, so they'll play each other twice or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've just only like read some articles about it, so it'll be like 3. Someone told me. I saw someone comment like, "Yeah, $1 million to play 14 games is well worth it. Like, why wouldn't you?"
100%.
Or you can get like Zach Lomax, for example, can get paid $650. He's on $650 at the Eels reported to play, you know, up to 28 games or 30 games in the season.
I've got a curveball for you. I've got a curveball for you. The NRL for Landis potentially, who knows, they might come out and say, if you go, you can't come back.
Oh, that'd be. Well, I was talking to.
Do you reckon they would?
Well, I was talking to some lawyers about that the other day, actually, like that kind of thing, like the non-competes in sports, because you know Australia has all these like really hardcore employment laws, right? But the NRL and sporting organizations stand outside them because they have their collective bargaining agreements and stuff like that. And what someone was saying to me the other day was they can only enforce non-competes like that in sports because the players let them enforce it. And all it's going to take is one player to bring a lawsuit against the NRL and it will end all of those non-competes. So if Landis does come out and says like no one can come back, all it's going to take is like a Zach Lomax to sue the NRL, and then they'll all be allowed to come back. And like what he was telling me was one of my mates was telling me was like they'll just win. Like the players, they'll just win. Like it's Australia where we care about is staff, not the business. So
I guess to answer your question, Mitch, what I'd say is like Sonny Bill left the game in a pretty bad way when he left the Bulldogs, and he was allowed to come back. So I sort of think, well, if he was allowed to come back under those circumstances, well then I think players who go and play in this should be allowed to come back as well.
I'm all for him coming back. I'm just saying if it becomes a big issue where a lot of players and all the best players are leaving, how's that going to go?
Yeah, well, that would be the
NRL point of view.
That would be the response, right? The NRL could just say, like, if you go, you're not allowed to come back. But then, like, it's the kind of thing where they'll only not be allowed to come back as long as they accept that they're not allowed to come back. As soon as one of them says, I don't accept this, man, I'm going to sue you for non-compete. You have to let me come back. Then it will really open the floodgates. But I think what's kind of like when you're launching a new sports competition like R360, right? They want to target NRL players and players from other comps for that, publicity. And then when they settle down in a couple of years, they're not going to want rugby league players that, although they're really good rugby league players, to come and play rugby union. They're going to want rugby union players, yeah. So it'll be less likely in the future because I know
once the comp's big, 100%. They're using a bit of star power to get going, but eventually it'll be all union.
It's like you remember Carmichael Hunt and Israel Folau both went to AFL teams, right?
Yeah.
Like that was like, going to be like, oh my God, they're going to raid the NRL and everyone's going to AFL. But no, it was just a publicity stunt to boost the Western Sydney, the Giants,
Gold Coast Suns.
The Gold Coast Suns, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Izzy went for about 10 mil, I think. Crazy.
That's it, man. Like it's just a marketing play. So yeah, give it a couple of years. And Peter V'landys can say like, if you go, you can't come back. Give it a couple of years. They'll stop poaching players because they're going to want gun rugby union players. So just
The thing is as well though, like 3 million sounds crazy and happy for him, but majority of the guys getting offered maybe you said 800 to $1 million. Majority of the ones, the superstars they're talking about are on that anyway.
Yeah.
Like maybe they'll benefit a little bit more, but unless it's drastic cash that's too good to be true, like it sounds like with Lomax, which 100% you put him on the next plane. But majority of them, if it's around that 8 to $1 million and they're the best NRL players, they're going to be on that anyway. So
because Brent Reid was saying on 360 that the worry is if it takes off, if it gets momentum, if money comes in, well then Nathan Cleary's on their hit list, Payne Haas is on their hit list. That's what Brent Reid was saying on 360.
Wouldn't be good to be Nath right now, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's
it. Thanks to Dylan Brown's worth 1.3 million. How much is Nathan Cleary worth to R360?
Chuck in Toulouse rugby, Toulon. He gets a big. He'll be fine. Japan.
Sure. So, Mitch, what do you make of this Lewis Dodds situation at the Rabbitohs?
Well, I'm happy, mate. He's coming to the Catalans.
Is he actually?
So it'll be him and Toby Sexton at the Catalans.
Well, I can't confirm that, but there's talk of it in the paper. I thought it popped up today. Is that correct?
There is, there's talk. There's certainly talk of it. Yeah, obviously
Yeah.
Sexton signed there, but yeah, there is.
Sexton's 100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think there was talk.
Yeah. There is. There's strong links with Dodd and the Catalans. Yep, you're right about that.
Yeah, I just saw that pop up. So yeah, as a half French man, father of a French kid,
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. I think it's been a tough road for him. I don't really know what's happened there. So my experience with Dodd, I can only speak about playing against him over here. He was a super player and played in some really good teams for St. Helens. Yeah, the game is different in many ways, and some Aussies come over here and don't play as well. Some English go over there and don't play as well or play really well. So it's an individual thing, but I'm not sure where the lack of opportunity came for him. Like it's all good that maybe they weren't that certain coaches don't have raps on certain players, but I'm confused that he didn't get more opportunity.
Yeah, so he only played 6 NRL games.
Did he play 6 in the end?
Yeah, but three of them were off the bench.
Yeah.
2 at 5/8 and only 1 at halfback in his preferred position. So it's interesting. There's a bit of, in the media, there's been a bit of, well, who should be taking the blame for this? I mean, Wayne Bennett signed with the Rabbitohs 2 weeks after Dodd did. So he's sort of saying, oh, well, look, it had nothing to do with me. He's sort of putting himself at arm's length of it. But, there's others sort of saying, well, look, surely if he only signed 2 weeks after Dodd, well, surely he would have known, surely he would have had some say in the signing of Dodd. So it's interesting, a bit of blame game going on and, who to blame here type thing.
I think just for Dodd, from Dodd ends, it obviously didn't work out, but I think Super League's the thing for him. He's comfortable here. He's played. I think he played in like 2 or 3 grand finals for St. Helens.
Yeah, didn't he?
He kicked that field goal to win the World Club Challenge. Yeah,
just ignore me.
Yeah, mate, he's a really good player from what I've experienced playing against him. So I think if the move to Catalans is true, I think he'd be great. Him and Sexton would be a great combination.
Yeah, that's gonna be a very strong halves combination for him, isn't it? Those two
for sure.
It was a bit weird, right? Like he couldn't get a start. He only played 1 game at halfback, which is his preferred position. I was reminded that there was a video that went around on social media when Wayne Bennett first went to the Rabbitohs. And it was like a behind the scenes, like in the change room kind of thing. And Lewis Dodd was laying there getting a massage, and Wayne Bennett walked up and said to him, "Oh, are you the POM that's been signed?" or something like that. Like right from the very get-go, Wayne Bennett wasn't happy with his signing or him being there, it seemed like, from the video that was like leaked. And then throughout the year, like even when the Rabbitohs were going bad, like he couldn't get a run.
But that's hard. That's hard for Dodd, like going into defence for a player. Like if you're coming over and not feeling much love, you're never going to play your best footy anyway.
Yeah.
So don't know if that's correct, but I've heard the same scenario that you just said about Wayne. With that video, and at the end of the day, like it just didn't work out for him, did it? And I thought, as I said, I thought he would have played better with given more opportunity, but as I said, you're not everyone's cup of tea, and obviously that South, for whatever reason, didn't want to give him much opportunity. But I think he'd be great at Catalans. I think he's no place like home. I'm sure he'll feel more safe over here and more comfortable. He's already played well in this competition, so I'm sure he's probably going, how good's this? I get to go back and be myself, play my own footy. It would have been a hard year for him. All the pressure, external pressure, not getting a start, moving away from home. So I wish him all the best.
Well, Catalans is my team as well. So
go the Catalans.
Yeah, man. So I hope he goes over there. Him and Sexton go over there and get that premiership. You obviously played in a grand final for Catalans, and you were injured. Yeah, had to come off the field.
Did my hammy the final week of fuck mate, we were flying 110 in a row. I did my hammy in the last game, and then I played the semi the week after. We had the week off. So we went straight to the prelim because we finished second or first. And then redid in the semi. So, yeah, I got through about 30 minutes, but I couldn't kick. So it hurt us in the end. But
yeah.
Mitch, what about these reports linking Tom Trbojevic to the Super League? You'd sort of think if he went over there, he'd just sort of carve up the competition, wouldn't he? And he'd be sort of man of steel material.
For sure. I think it was genuine from different information. 100% he wanted to come over.
Yeah, 100%.
I just think I think the money, the Super League, I think that Mikey Lewis just re-signed for Hull KR. He would have been on equivalent to Aussie money, maybe. Don't count me on it. 6 to 8, maybe.
Yeah.
Equivalent. So you're talking top end money around that. I know George Williams was on huge cash, but majority of the money is not the same as the NRL money. That top end 7 to mil money. So you'd think Tom would have been asking for a lot. So I don't know if that was the reason it sort of got pushed back. I seen Warrington were going hard for him.
I think that there was an issue with Manly out here. They originally offered him. They put forward an offer, but apparently it wasn't. I think the CEO put Trbojevic an offer, but it wasn't ratified by the Manly board. And then the offer that was ratified was $300,000 less than the original offer, and that got Tommy Turbo's nose out of joint a little bit, I think. And then that's what sort of led him to look at the Super League. And I think he was linked to Warrington, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there was talk about Warrington. I think as from all reports and hearing a bit of stuff, I think he was definitely keen to come over. But obviously, he was looking for a good contract. But yeah, he would have been great for Super League. It's a disappointing thing, isn't it? Because it sort of shows where Tom's at mentally, isn't it? Like this, he's not that old. He's only mid to late 20s. Was he late 20s?
He's late 20s. Yeah, I think he's 28. I'm just double checking that now.
But 28 with a healthy body.
Sorry, 29. He's 29. Yep.
But 29, if that hammy was not a problem, mate, he's your first picked in Origins and reps, and he's still got 4 years. He's still got 4 years of dominance. It's quite sad, really. It's quite sad.
He's actually turned 29 today, so happy birthday, Tom Trbojevic.
How is that?
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Like it's so hard to repair something like that. Like he's obviously got a hamstring issue.
Yeah,
that's recurring. It's so hard to repair something. He needs to drop himself out of the testing pool and get on the steroids for 6 months, and then come back.
I saw Mitch. I saw some highlights from a number of years ago when Ben Barber played in the Super League, and he just absolutely carved up the competition. And I just have a feeling that Tom Trbojevic would do a similar thing.
I no doubt in the world he'd kill it. Like those type of fullbacks, they're your best bet, I reckon. They're good anyway. Like Ben Barber and Tom Trbojevic are good in NRL, but I reckon superstar fullbacks with Super League, like the way the game's played, they're your money men, the fullbacks, because it's a bit more open space and they get a bit more room to breathe. So yeah, you always see fullbacks that are superstars kill it here.
So just last thing. We got to touch on the number one news story of the year, Lachlan Galvin. So what are your thoughts on like the whole thing with like basically the whole year of Lachlan Galvin going over to the Bulldogs and then them easing Toby Sexton out the door, even though they were on top of the ladder, and how the Bulldogs ended up?
Yeah, firstly, I've defended him a bit because I just feel like he got bullied a bit. Some of the guys in the media was really personal, and I think the bit of that was a bit of a hangover with his manager and the Tigers drama. So I think from a personal point of view of the way some people were attacking him, it was a bit of an agenda towards maybe Gus Gould or Isaac Moses, all that type of stuff. So I was feeling for him because he didn't deserve that type of barrage. Yeah, criticise his footy and everything like that. We'll get to that in a second. But the personal stuff, some of the comments were bullying, to be honest. Yeah. So I was disappointed with that as an ex-player. But 100%, it's just I could see two sides to it. I saw Cameron Serraldo come out yesterday. I think it was on Paul Kent's podcast with Johnny Elias, and he come out and he said he'll never say sorry or go back on making a choice that he thinks will help the team win and be better. And you can 100% see the reason for getting Galvin. He's the best young half one of the best young halves in the game. Well, probably six. He's just the best young six in the game. There was an opportunity to get him over. They're thinking long term, so 100% they needed him in and around their squad, and I can understand why they got him. But he's definitely not a 7 at this point, and I don't know if he's going to fast track into a 7 in the next couple of years. Like, it'll take him time. His game's built off instinct and eyes up footy, and he doesn't to me seem like an organizer or a game manager or a strategic thinker. So, and as a halfback, as a 7, on ball with what they need, you need that. And they don't have that. The worry for me now is the fact that Sexton, as you said, was their best bet playing that on-ball 7. He's gone to Catalans. They're banking on Mitch Woods to come through, who, as we know, it takes a few... Firstly, is Mitch Woods going to be a dominant NRL player? I hope so. As an ex-half, you want every young half to come and kill it. I hope he comes out and he's an immortal. But there's a risk that he can come into the game, first and foremost, handle first grade. Secondly, is he an organiser and on-ball half? I've watched Mitch Woods in the juniors. For me, he looks like a runner as well.
Oh.
So, yeah, great player, great young player, really talented. He's been great in all the juniors. I haven't watched him a whole lot. But when I watched him, my first instinct was he's a runner. So there's the other curveball that's going to happen the next couple of years. And then there's the talk Burton's going to get moved on. So... yeah, so it's a weird situation. But when hearing what Serraldo said, you can't blame Gus and Serraldo at that point in time when there was interest that they could get a Galvin into the squad. Why wouldn't you get him? But
yeah, so
yeah. I think what they might have got wrong was, and it's off the mark a bit with Gus though, and that's what the media is critical of, is that you've gone over and got him over here and saying he's a 7, but we don't see him as a 7. And I can't argue with that.
Yeah. I think what you said there, where it's like, you defended him. Like me and Dan talked about it actually last week on our podcast episode. Like, you can't blame Lachlan Galvin for what happened to the Bulldogs. And I think that's where some of the confusion, especially in the media, came. Like, there was too much hate on Lachlan Galvin, this young half that took like a big money deal, to go to a more of a powerhouse club than where he was. When really, like, if you're gonna blame someone or say anything bad about anyone or anything like that, like, it's not Lachlan Galvin's fault that the Bulldogs were at the top of the ladder and then went down. Like, he just did what was in front of him. He was playing for the Tigers, which everybody knows they're the Tigers. Bulldogs offered him a bigger money deal, probably more of a chance to win a premiership. Whatever you want to think about Isaac Moses and Benji Marshall's relationship with each other. And he went there because it was like a better opportunity. But I think the main thing that people aren't really talking about in their rush to just pile on hatred is the fact that the Bulldogs were top of the ladder, and winning a much higher percentage of their games with like Toby Sexton, and Reid Marnie as well. Like, that's the other one that I think people leave on the wayside. Like, Lachlan Galvin coming over and playing 7 when, as you said, like, he's not really like a classic 7. He's not really like, do you even know if he can be a 7? And then also dropping Reid Marnie at the same or around the same time is more of a derailment of the Bulldogs season than what people are really talking about. And instead, they're just piling on Lachlan Galvin hate. So I see it online all the time, like, people just saying bad crap about Lachlan Galvin. But really, at the end of the day, it's the coach and the club that made all these decisions. Yeah, I think a lot of anger around it or upsetness around it is the fact that they were first and winning more games than they were losing. Went through this really like screwed up period of disruption and then just started getting beaten all the time.
In hindsight, you wonder, would have been a smarter play? Because you look at it, like, he's obviously been approached Gus or whatever, or Serrato's obviously had a phone call from Isaac Moses, or however it works, to say, or they've reached out to Isaac Moses and said, we want Galvin, for an example. But if they had their time again, would they still go with the decision to get him, but just stick to what the team was and just say to Galvin, listen, mate, you're not playing this year. Yeah, you're coming over, we're going to give you a good contract, but you just won't be playing in this team until next year when Sexton signed with Dragons. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, I mean,
instead of as you said, because they derailed everything. They said everything that was working. We got the halfback gone, and then we put the 9 out and go and bring this new guy in. It just wasn't working. Well, it wouldn't have been a bad signing if they got him over when the time was right. The opportunity popped up. Let's snatch him. Let's get him in the fucking system. Let's think long term. But for the meantime, Galvin, sorry, mate, you're just not playing this year. But
yeah. Well, I mean, with Sexton at halfback, they won 70% of games. With Galvin at halfback, they won 44% of games. With Reid Marnie at hooker, they won 70% of games. With Bailey Hayward at hooker, they won 33% of games.
Yeah, and that's what I think people like really need to get off the Galvin hate for. Like, it's not Lachlan Galvin's fault that the Bulldogs season was derailed. There's a lot more to it. I just think, like, really, like, what they should have done is exactly as you said, like, sign Galvin over. They could have given him the same money, because there was a bunch of reports at the time where the money was coming off like this tier 2 or soft cap or something like all this weird, salary cap is the most complex thing in the universe. So they could have paid him that, whatever they paid him, and said, we're just going to ease you in. And then, if they had injuries, they could have played him a few games at 6 or whatever. And then next year, train him in the off season to get him through. But the thing that, like, most people are, like, really, I guess you can say, angry about is that, like, they were top of the ladder.
That was interesting what you were saying before, Mitch. So it sounds like, do you think that certain sections of the media who have it in for Phil Gould, do you think that they use the situation with Galvin as a way of taking another shot at Gould?
100%. That happens all the time. Like, especially if someone of power like Gus or Isaac Moses, who causes a stir, you know what it's like. As soon as something doesn't work, everyone gets their chance to fucking stick the knives in. That's been going on for years, hasn't it? So I've got no doubt, because of who Gus is and how much influence he has and opinion he has. As soon as something that a choice, and he's perceived as a genius, and he's such a great footy mind. If something doesn't work, all the people that are not his fondest friends, of course they're going to come out and sort of let him know about it. That 100% for me was why Galvin copped a lot more of it. And then also too, purely on the fact that it just wasn't working. So, and we're saying that as well. As from a footy fan, I can understand Bulldogs fans. They would have been disappointed, because they're like, we've got nothing against Galvin, and this kid could be good long-term, but for the now, he's not the best player for us. We've got Sexton there who's better. Let's stick to that. So you think if Serrato and Gus had their time again, would have they stuck to what they had and just said to Galvin, listen, mate, you're going to be in, as John just said, mate, you might play a few games this year, long-term, you've got your contract, we're setting your family up, you're going to be here, you're going to be a Bulldog, we're going to work on the whole off-season with you, but for now, you're just going to play your part, learn what we're about, watch the boys play, help out when you can, play a couple of games when there's an injury, but that's it. That would have been a better. That sounds like a more logical thing that would have been more effective. But who knows? They might have said to him, they might have said that the only reason we can get you over is that you're playing. That might have been the agreement.
Yeah, well, in hindsight, that they should have done exactly what you said, because before Galvin signed, they were winning 82% of games, and after he signed, they only won 47% of games. So they should have done what you suggested and just said,
fucked it.
They should have just said, we're signing you, but you can have the rest of the year off. They should have sent him on a Kentucky tour.
Hey, mate, here's 700. Go to summer Ibiza and fucking Barcelona.
We'll call you if you need you, mate. It looks like someone's injured. Can you come back and play a game for us?
If you can't get in any nightclubs, just give me a call, Uncle Gus. I'll get you in, and then you just come back next year.
And that, what it really comes down to is that, right? We've talked about it before. Like, the issue now with the Bulldogs is 2 years ago they were wooden spooners or almost wooden spooners?
They came third last and they had the worst defense in the comp.
1 year ago they made the 8. This year they made the top 4. But instead of talking about how their whole entire club has improved and they're obviously on the rise, everyone's talking about, mate, they could have won the competition if they hadn't assigned Galvin.
So Mitch, do you think they could have won the comp if they didn't sign Galvin, or is that going too far given how well Melbourne and Brisbane and Penrith have played in this final series?
I don't think they would have won the comp, but you don't know. Momentum was all the shit talk and the negativity and the changes that stifled their momentum. So as we just said, we spoke about momentum's a huge thing. So 100%, if they had the top 2 in defence or top 1 in defence and they had consistency in Sexton that kept building, who knows? Maybe they could have. Momentum's a big thing. But they lost all that momentum. They totally lost all the momentum, and every day was negativity. And I think I seen a Stephen Crichton when Galvin first went there, and he spoke in a press conference after, had a giggle, and he sort of said, as the captain, he said, it was like under 10s. We had to rewind the tape again at training, and so you can just imagine everything was clunky and I've been there. I've been that halfback where there's a lot of pressure. I feel that's why I've always got sympathy for young halves, because I know what Galvin would have been going for. It's got nothing to do with him. He was at the Tigers. He's got interest from one of the greatest brains in the game. He's a young kid. He's going, how good's this? Yeah, sweet, 100%. I'll take the opportunity. And he's come in with all this energy, doing his best, trying to learn his trade. His head must be just falling off.
Like, you can't deny that he tried. That's the thing. Like, yeah, he made.
He's got good footy in him. He's got good footy in him. He's a good instinctive player. He's got good support play, but trying to get him to be that strategic play for play and organising the game, I don't know I don't know if that's his style. And as I just said before, Sexton leaves, Burton's a chance of maybe moving on, and then they're banking on Mitch Woods. They've got 2 rookie halves, so they're going to be. It's going to take them years to get going.
Plus, their hooker isn't the best.
They let Reid Marnie go to the Cowboys as well, and so that's another issue for them next year.
Well, they're going to use. I guess they're going to continue to use Bailey Hayward at 9. Who's not a young
who wins a lot less games than Reid Marnie did.
Well, he's not a young hooker. Yeah. Like, what is he? Bailey Hayward's like 25, 26, right?
I think he's 24. Yeah.
But
good player, Bailey Hayward.
Well, he's an inexperienced hooker. He had 6-7 games at starting hooker this year. Inexperienced, and do you really want, as a club, fully fresh 7 or possibly 6? Lachlan Galvin, who's now got like some experience, but not the best experience, and Bailey Hayward, who's an inexperienced hooker, is your spine.
Well, you look at the teams that have won the comp. Penrith won 4 in a row, best halfback in the world. Before that, we had, I think it was Roosters when there. Cooper Cronk was there. Yep. Then we had the Melbournes when it was all the Cameron Smiths, Cooper Cronks, Billy Slater. Like, you go in history, you do not win the comp, I don't think, unless you're in the top 2 in defence and you got the top 1 or 2 best players in the game, which is either your fullback or your half.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
You just don't win. So if they're thereabouts to win, top 4 dogs are thereabouts, unless they. And the missing piece is a superstar fullback or 7. They're not going to win.
Yeah, they don't.
Going off history.
There is the news as well that they're trying to get Kalen Ponga.
He'd be good.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? You chuck Kalen Ponga in there with Lachlan Galvin, and then doesn't matter. Like, there's the Willie Mason thing where when Ponga took Newcastle through that 10-game winning streak, and he was like, yeah, but you look at their spine and there's Kalen Ponga and 3 guys who I don't know who they are. But the simple fact is, Kalen Ponga took Newcastle 2 years ago to the finals. You chuck him into a Bulldog system that's, I don't want to disparage the Knights too much. I know they're one of your teams, but they obviously don't have the best systems in place now. They got a new coach coming in. Compare that to the Bulldogs, who are established and, have the potential to chuck Kalen Ponga into that system, and it makes a massive difference, right? But with who they got now, who's their fullback? The Bulldogs fullback?
Connor Tracy.
Tracy.
Yeah.
So I
he's
guess
good.
that'd leave him out in the cold a little bit if they signed
He's
Ponga,
good and
but
everything, but he's not a superstar Billy Slater, Kalen Ponga, right? And then
he's solid. He's solid.
yeah, like Mitch was just saying, like you need a superstar, but you go through that spine right now, and what they're looking like having next year if they get rid of Burton. They got Mitch Wood, Lachlan Galvin, Connor Tracy, and Bailey Hayward. That's not a competition-winning spine.
No.
No.
So yeah, like they should be.
What's the go with KP? What's the go with KP? Is he a chance of leaving?
I don't know, man. Like I kind of find something weird about him. Like all the time, that every time a club is looking for a player, his name gets thrown up. You know, like every club in the league.
He seems restless. Like he wants to
his manager's good, huh?
Yeah, well, that's stuff. So I was going to say, like he seems restless, but isn't really. It just seems like every time a club is looking for, like, you know, oh, the Roosters are looking for a prop. Caitlin Ponga is available. You know, like that's what it seems like. You know, so there's always rumors Caitlin Ponga is going somewhere, and then a week later it'll be like Caitlin Ponga has signed an extension with the Knights for another 8 years.
Yeah,
so, you just don't know. Like, but the Bulldogs need someone. They need to sign someone. I don't know how much cap space they got for next year. I guess we'll see come November 1 when stuff really gets crazy for a little bit in the off season. There's a few big name players that could be moving on, and there's a few clubs that are looking for them. Like the Dragons are still insistent that they're looking for another half. So they got Atkinson.
Do we really believe that?
Well, the CEO says it.
Well, they need one.
Yeah, well, they do need one. They got Atkinson coming. They got King Tong is still there. They've lost Lachlan Glover. Lachlan Ilias is apparently going to the Titans. And then they got Kyle Flanagan. So there's a few teams that are looking for, you've had a few coaches, a couple of coaches sacked in the off season, right? So, recently, so Adam O'Brien's gone from the Knights, and they confirmed it's who's the Knights signed for their coach?
Holbrook.
Oh yeah, they confirmed it's Justin Holbrook. So he's going to go through a rebuild. Titans are obviously going through. Titans have got 12 players they're letting go or something like that. Going through a massive rebuild. So the Dogs are going to have some competition for players, right? And if they're looking for someone to bolster that spine, there's going to be some big money available at not at the Knights, but at the Titans probably, that they'll have to compete with. So players will have to think about, do I want to go to the Dogs, where it's obviously a powerhouse club, or do I want to go to the Titans for more money? And, the Dogs have the NRL in Vegas next year as well. So they're probably not going to start strong if history repeats. So there's a lot to go on with the Dogs, actually.
It's a tough situation Lockie's got himself in now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like because he's already got the world against him. Fuck, he's going to have to play some good footy to get the monkeys off the back.
And it's,
what? Do you sort of think, well, you hold on to the players you've got until you sign better ones, and then you sort of think, well, they should have just held on to Sexton and Marnie then. That's how I would have seen it. But anyway,
I would have kept Sexton. He's good. Very good.
That's the thing. That's the thing. No other club in the NRL wanted him, so they wouldn't have had to. He wouldn't have taken up much of their salary cap.
No,
I would have kept him.
He was in that period where Dylan Brown had just signed for $1.3 million, and so there was all the stuff in the media about how now Sexton was asking for $1 million, and the Bulldogs weren't willing to pay it.
Is that what it was?
Well, that was in the media. You don't know how much truth there is in that as well, but that was one of the things. Like, because Dylan Brown was $1.3 million playing for Parramatta, moving to the Knights, Toby Sexton was sitting at the top of the ladder. Like, surely he was worth $1 million if Dylan Brown's worth 1.3, right? And so that was what the media was saying, and that kind of put, according to the media, put the Bulldogs' nose out of joint. Gus. One thing about Gus Gould is nobody can deny he doesn't pay overs, right? He doesn't care what. He's one of those guys. It's like, I imagine him as a parent, whether his kid will say like, "Oh, my friend gets to use the iPad at dinner," and he'll be like, "I don't care what your friend gets, mate." So that's the same thing. Like, Dylan Brown's worth 1.3 million. I don't care what Dylan Brown's worth at Newcastle, mate. This is the Bulldogs, and you're getting this, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
doesn't pay overs. So if a player or an agent ever goes to the Bulldog and says, "We want this much," he's going to say, "Well, I think you're worth this much, and that's all you're getting."
Mm.
You know, so it's a tough situation. I was pretty critical of Lachlan Galvin earlier in the year when he signed and disrupted the Bulldogs, and then I just came to the realization, like, it's not his fault, man. Like everyone's putting too much on him. It's nothing to do, really, when you think about it, it's nothing to do with him. He took an opportunity that everybody would have taken.
Yeah.
And the buck actually stops with the coach, right?
It's even harder for him, like you said, if he's not not playing in his natural position as well.
Yeah.
You can deal with the pressure if you're playing the style of footy that works for you. But when you're playing out of position as well and then trying to prove a point, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's not natural. It's not natural. You're doing something that's not you're not good at it. You're not as good as you can be at it because it's not what your natural game is. So yeah, he was fighting two sort of battles there.
Yeah. I feel bad for him now. Anyway, all right, man. Once again, thanks for the podcast. I have to give our shout outs to sponsors. Don't forget Optimum CBD for all of your CBD needs. Optimum CBD. What is it? Optimum CBD.store. And then Gear Guard for your washing supplements at GuramiCleaning.co. Anything else before we finish up?
I've been taking a bit of CBD lately just to give your sponsor a shout out. I like my CBD.
Yeah, it's good, right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, man.
Good for anxiety, slows the
yeah.
mind down.
Helps with recovery. Like I take it every day. Yeah.
Do you smoke it or do you do the
Take the gummies?
the gummies?
The gummies, yeah. I've done the oil underneath the tongue as well, but it just tastes gross, so I prefer the gummies.
Did anyone see Snoop Dogg at the AFL Grand Final?
No, on the marijuana.
Man,
I saw him at Cargo Bar in Sydney. It popped up on Instagram, and he was doing an event at Cargo Bar, and he just had a big fat joint in the middle of the fucking.
Man, that was a good grand final entertainment actually. It was one of the best ones I know there was a lot of criticism about him being there because of the AFL being the moral arbiters of life, but he was really good.
I thought he was. Yeah, I thought he was good. Yeah, I thought
he's the king.
Yeah,
he's the king.
And so the NRL's had their guy pull out. Yeah, so I don't know what they're doing.
Has he pulled out?
I think he was having a few health issues. But I didn't hear that he'd officially pulled out yet. But I think he was in doubt. So
we might get next man up, Shannon Noel.
Yes. I to be honest, I don't even know who the guy was. I'm not young enough or cool enough to know who he is. So
yeah, I didn't know who he was either. But a few mates have said he's a big dog. They reckon he's unreal.
My daughter told me he's got one of the TikTok songs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's how stuff's popular. Music is popular these days, man. TikTok sounds.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
TikTok. The young people are the ones that ask. They know everything.
Yeah, exactly. I got to ask my daughter. She's 10 years old all the time. That's going to be you, man, in 10 years. Congratulations on the birth of the baby, by the way.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks, boys. I can hear her crying in the background. It was one of those nights. Mrs. had something on last night, so I was up feeding all night, helping out with the food, and then she's just 3 a.m. for about 3 hours. Test your patience, doesn't it, boys?
Absolutely. Patience. I like there's the Louis C.K. bit about it where it's like you have your baby, you look at it, it's the most amazing thing that you love more than anything in the world. You can never love anything more. You can never be more proud. But man, you just want to smash fucking head in with a brick sometimes.
You said it. You said it, not me.
Louis C.K. said it. I'm just repeating it. But yeah, like it's great. Yeah. So
the love is honestly like you can't even imagine it, can you? As you know, it's so good.
Exactly. It's incomprehensible until it happens.
Yeah, it's the best, mate. Loving it. Love being a dad.
That's sick, man. All right, man. Well, thanks a lot again. Hopefully we can catch up again soon. And there's some internationals coming up, so we should for the Ashes. Actually, it's the first time we played for the Ashes in fuck knows how long. I don't know, Australian, right? I think Australia's going to.
I think 03. I think 03 was the last time.
England is not a force anymore. So we're just going to dominate that one anyway. it's just really a free holiday for the boys. Yeah.
I got to be careful bad mouthing England. I'm close to their shores. I got a lot of English mates. You boys are safe over there. You're 24 hours away. I dip my toe in a bit of both over here.
I gotta go train right now with a guy from England who actually, like, I make fun of his rugby league team all the time, and he just said to me once, "Dude, I don't care because no one follows rugby league in England anyway." Oh, fine, whatever. Anyway, cheers, Mitch.
Yeah, boys, legends. Awesome. Speak to you.
We'll see you next time, man.